Well, it's just after 7 on Sunday morning, and I'm up extra early because we're going to be burning today. And I wanted to see whether or not I could get this loader operational for that project. And since Home Depot opens at 8 a.m., I'm hoping between what I have here and what I can buy there, I might be able to cobble together enough fittings to actually make this happen. So I've got a couple of double female couplers, and I got a nipple, and I've got that other nipple that I bought. Problem is going to be, this is a 1 1/4 inch barb, I think, and Home Depot only has a 1 inch, so I think I'm going to not be able to couple to the hose here, this end of the hose. I'll take that with me in case I do come across something. But I think I've still got the old nipple that they cut out of the other old pipe. Okay, there we go. So here's what I saved. This is the old nipple that they cut out of the original pipe. In other words, that would be kind of like that fitting down the end there. Had a jacket around it, and they cut the jacket off so they could remove it. But what I can do is I can insert this into the end of the pipe and then use one of the clamps that they sold me. I can clamp this into the end of this pipe. So my only problem now is, well, a couple of problems. Problem number one, the pipe's going to be a little too short now, because remember I had this pipe cut to length, anticipating being able to use that stub, which I had to take out of there. And the second problem, of course, is tightening those fittings in there. I know how difficult it was to take those out. You can imagine how difficult it's going to be to put that all back in. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put a pipe nipple, a rigid one, into that fitting down there, because that's going to be easier to grab onto with the pipe wrench and tighten into there. And then what that'll end up doing for me is that'll end up moving the actual hex connections that I'm going to have to get on with a wrench out far enough this way that I think I can sneak in there between the bottom of the loader arm here and the bottom of the cylinder and the frame. So let's see how short this pipe's going to be. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm going to reuse this nipple here, clamp it here, and then the pipe's going to run through here. It's going to run on the inside like it did before, but then before the pipe was extra long, and what it did was it dropped down across the frame right about here. I could actually see where it was rubbing on the paint right here. It dropped down like this, dropped down into this little spot right here, and then came back up again, crossed the rail there, up again, and over to the fitting. This will be more of a straight shot, and it'll kind of stay. It won't fit down in this channel. I think Paul had mentioned in one of his comments that I believe it was Paul. Anyways, it mentioned he noticed that this channel, and he thought, well, perfect spot for it. And the problem is, it was deceiving in the video. This looked a lot wider, but just so you can see, this is, my 2 fingers won't fit in there even. But it can sit right on the top like that. We wouldn't want it down in there anyways, because if you look at the height, actually it wants to be up about here. So right now I think this is going to be good. Now you'll look at the hydraulic cylinder right there. When that comes down, the closest thing that might possibly hit it would actually be the underside of this, but that doesn't go that low because that's at the, you can see this is the pivot point right here. But way up here, this cylinder, when you get full down on the loader arms, this cylinder right here comes right down into this space. And I didn't notice it, but it's quite possible that that actually was what was responsible for partly crushing this hose in the first place. We can certainly check that after we get it running again. But the good news is, I'm looking at probably just the standard pipe fitting is going to work here to make this fit in there. So now I just got to get my tape measure and take a measurement, and got a little bit of a fudge factor there too. If it's a little too long, I can always trim a little off this end of the hose if I need to. But let's go. Well, to my dismay, that's 5 inches between this edge here and this edge here. So actually a 6-inch nipple. Problem is, once it threads into that end and threads into this end, it's only going to give you a 1/2 inch going in on each side. I just have a feeling that it's going to thread in further than that just by a little bit. If it threads in the 3/4 of an inch on each side, then what ends up happening is I lose 1/4 and 1/4 is a 1/2. I lose a 1/2 inch over here, which, as you can see, that really, I really want that fully onto that barb there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pick up a 6-inch nipple, try that. I'll get a couple other assorted smaller nipples if I have to. I'll cobble together something with one of these double females and another nipple. I got that nipple, because I can actually screw that nipple in, put a double female on. That'll bring it out much closer, and then maybe use a shorter nipple. I'll have a lot of fittings in there, which I'm not going to care about, but I figure I'll goop up the threads really good with sealant and hope for the best. Ah yes, Home Depot, the only place where you can go in for one item and end up burning an hour. Well, I'm going to need some pipe sealant too. The Teflon based PTFE stuff that I've got kind of hardened and got really unworkable with age, so they've got this on sale, Great White with PTFE, but I just opened the container and it looks kind of like you know, the chemicals look like they separated out, so maybe that's why they were unloading it for on sale, clearance. Then they get the real stuff, PTFE, but that's pretty expensive, $10.45. So I think I'm going to try this Blue Block stuff right here, thread sealant, because it says right on the thing, good for oil and gas. Well, here's the dilemma. There's the 6-inch, which I now am confident would be too short, because you can see if I want 5 inches between the two flanges, then only half of this is going to be able to thread in before I start to lose some. So if it threads in 1/4 inch more on each side, I lose that 1/2 inch, and it ends up being a 1/2 inch too short. Here's my 8-inch nipple. Going to be too long. I cut the hose shorter though to make up for that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go with a 8-inch. Either that, or I wonder if I could actually, I got a pipe threading machine right here and they thread pipe for you. I wonder whether or not they could thread this, cut this end off and thread it. Make a 7-inch nipple. Well, in that little bag right there is a custom made 7-inch nipple. Took some sweet talking to the young lady who was the associate cutting the pipe for me, because she said, oh, they were told they're not supposed to cut those nipples. So what we figured out was that if you put an adapter on, a double female adapter, and thread it on a longer piece of pipe to support the back end, you can do it. It's a little tricky, but you can do it. So I told her I wouldn't say that she did it. I didn't name names. So I can't believe it's 10 minutes to 9, and I'm just leaving Home Depot. And I still got to get, of course, I got to make a McDonald's stop there for some coffee and breakfast sandwiches. Got to have some fuel.